I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know? Yeah, if you're gonna leave, I'ma let you go. I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. Harder, harder. I fell where my demons dwell. My own little nightmare, I call it hell. Oh well, it's time to get back up, climbing and climbing. I'm done with this ride, is what I tell myself, so I could feel something else. Yeah, I guess I had my bad days, but it doesn't mean I lost myself. Darling, where were you when my heart was on the ground? I thought time would prove that you would stick around. I guess time stands still, a king without his crown. Now I'm breaking, you're faking, girl. You never made a sound. Oh, wait, I'm tired of the pain. Go away. I'm tired of yesterday. Harder, harder.
Alrighty, we are live in Hookah University and on Dr. Noob Sauce, my personal channel, and personal YouTube channel. We are joined by the men behind Shaman Coles, man. Thank you guys. It is super fucking early in the morning. I appreciate all you assholes and crazy people out there for coming on here and watching us interview the Russians so early in the morning, because this is crazy. Usually we're doing the classroom with a beer, with some alcohol, with some vodka, with some rum, with some tequila, with whatever Jeremy's drinking, whatever I'm drinking, and Daniel and Milan are drinking. They're drinking for us because I don't think it's socially acceptable right now for me to crack open a beer at 8 o'clock in the morning, even though they told me otherwise, and I should be listening to them, but I'm going to enjoy this morning with a nice cup of coffee. Thank you. We got Gregory, Daniel, we got Elias, we got Andrew Ursham, we got a bunch of people in the chat. I appreciate you guys coming in here.
We got Tunke, and we have Daniel Newbert from Denmark. Hello, guys. Good afternoon to you guys. How are you this afternoon?
So guys, shaman calls. How do you say it properly?
Come on. We even got a little shaman here to bless our live translation.
I really thought for a second. I thought that was like some amazing Russian bowl that you guys just pulled out. I was like, that doesn't surprise me.
Can't smoke just yet.
Thank you guys for coming on. What time is it over there?
It's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock in the evening. We got a little bit of construction, so we hope that's not gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna.
No, believe me. If Matt Dezen from the AM Hookah podcast was in here, you know, shit happens all the time. So, man, let's get into it. We were lucky enough to try these coals out, and I know a couple other people were able to get their hands on these coals. From Sky Hookah Distribution, our good buddies over there, our Russian connection, Gregory and Dimitri, who are always very good with their customer service, really good guys, and they can down a shitload of vodka. They are number one with hospitality. If you guys ever go to Chicago, hit those guys up and check out their warehouse because they have an amazing stuff.
I still think I'm drunk from Chicago, Chris. How about you?
I'm drunk from 5 hours of sleep. That's what I'm drunk from. But man, so these coals. So when I got them sent to me, Gregory and Dimitri were like, "Man, these coals, they're really good." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, more coals on the market. Like they're gonna hype them up." I put these things on to try them out. I was like, "Let me try them out." Because Gregory and Dimitri want my feedback to see what I think. And we here on Hookah University, we have a lot of different smokers from all different walks that try all different types of coals. And I have to say, man, using these coals, I was very, very surprised in a good way. My initial impressions were basically that these things don't die. They just keep going. And it's one of those things where you notice right away after maybe a little bit of smoking, after an hour and a half, that you're still getting the same clouds in an hour and a half that you were getting in the first, 10 to 15 minutes. And I was like, hold on, what's going on? Maybe something is going crazy with my bowl. So I would lift the Provost up. I look at it. I'm like, these things are still fucking hot. Okay, maybe, it's going to go. It's got to die down. Now I'm hitting the 2-hour mark. And they're still going, and I'm like, they put some shit in this. They put some illegal Chernobyl chemicals in their coals. These motherfucking scientists over here in the laboratories, these are like the Ivan Drago of fucking coals out here. I was very, very surprised. And, the packaging, very clean, very crisp. Nothing too crazy with this. I noticed that on the side, you actually have multiple languages on the side so people can read it. How did you come up with the name Shaman Coals?
Oh, that's quite a long story. When we were in Indonesia working on the coal, there was actually in Indonesia, it's quite famous. It's quite important to use local shamans. They're equivalent to doctors or whatnot.
They're like healers.
They're like healers. So we went to our translator and we were like, listen, we have to go to a shaman to bless business, just to see what's going on, to have a bit of a culture kind of adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And so we flew into the Kalimantan.
It's an island. It's an island on the north of Indonesia. Like we went through with a proper machetes through the jungles and stuff.
Yo, that's some crazy shit, but it sounds like a hell of a lot of fun.
So we end up we flew on this propeller thingy that you usually see in the news that crash after the liftoff. So and we went to the jungle and we expected to see some guy levitating about to give us
feathers or whatnot.
Yeah. But out came this little just a good old just a grandpa dressed in the traditional Indonesian batiks and being all calm and collected. So we go to him with our translator and we actually ask him, look, we got a cool new product that we have been developing for quite a little bit now. We don't have an idea about a brand name, but we were just wondering whether you could bless us, the business and so whatnot.
Yeah, having a bit of experience.
So they have the tea ceremony is quite actually important in Indonesia, and he brought us out some tea, right? So we're like, okay, we'll have some tea. So
The tea had like kind of a soil taste.
Was that shit laced with something? You sound
Was that
this sounds
masaca?
like some really Indiana Jones Temple of Doom type shit where they had stones out, they fucking pulled someone's heart out of their chest, they fucking
Waiting
sacrificed.
for a ball to come rolling down.
The teapot. So we drink that, and the last thing that I remember that when by the time I woke up, it was like dark. We have been like apparently ayahuasca. Do you know what that is? Like the Peru. So they gave us like some Indonesian ayahuasca, and like I remember that it was like I was like seeing colors and tasting colors, and Milan was like.
He said after the trip, he said that he gave us like a minor, like a mild kind of dose that it was like very chill. So basically, we went into this we started feeling the effects like in an hour, and then I see something moving in the wall, and I'm like, oh fuck, there's like insects or something. I come into the wall, there's nothing. I come back, and I'm like, oh shit, there's still something moving, and then we're like, listen, Daniel. Something's going on.
Anyway, so we like after that we wake up from this trance and we're like telling our translator, who's also she's by the way like sitting there like knocked out. We're like,
oh, that goes very well when your translator is like knocked out.
Can you ask this man like what should we call our brand? Because it's like dark outside, we gotta get home. And she asked him, and the guy responds Dukun, and we're like, what the fuck is Dukun? And she's like, well, Dukun, it's a shaman. We're like, yeah.
By the way, like strictly, drugs are highly illegal in Indonesia. Nevertheless, in your usual cafe, there are certain cafes, and you can go there and you can get an omelet of psilocybin mushrooms, and it's completely legal.
So it was like a herbal experience, but at the same time like a spiritual, like mythical experience. And then we started, indulging ourselves in actually, what is Indonesia? What is a shaman? What is that? And it all connected to the fact that, these shamans, they actually use smoke to connect themselves to like the other part of the world that mere mortals can't connect to. And we just thought that it would be a really great way to honor, a deep and a really old tradition in that side of the world. And at the same time, what is a shaman? A shaman is somebody that heals, that brings, somebody that brings power, that takes away like bad from evil, or that can curse you. And we thought that we didn't want to do the standard usual, like everybody calls themselves Coco this, Coco that, Coco Rico, Coco Prince. And we thought that, we'll honor this because we love what we do. So we'll honor that tradition, and we'll bring that forward to the people. And people actually really enjoyed it. Our entire philosophy about the brand is that it's minimal, but at the same time it's powerful. Because let's not forget, Chris and Jeremy, that at the end of the day, we're talking here about coal. We're not talking about we're not talking about something like massive. Something.
Well, I think it will definitely depend on who you talk to, because coals are such a hot topic, and they're the end-all be-all for some people, where they can make or break a session depending on what coals. But that whole story, that might be one of the best stories we've ever had on here.
Yeah,
we really enjoyed it because we experienced it. So for us, it was quite cool, to bring the shaman into, to bring you the shaman into your home. And actually, in Russia, when they work with these coals, they don't say oh, we just work with coals. No, what they say is "Мы работаем с шаманами," which means I work with the shamans. So that's quite almost like a lot of people say when I put the coals on my bowl, I bless the bowl. So that's quite cool.
That's super fucking interesting. I like that story, and Andrew Ersham really likes the story as well.
Yeah, he's really digging it.
So can you guys give me a little bit of backstory about each of you? How did you get? You didn't just meet each other in the fucking nature in Indonesia. You just found each other, pointed at each other, be like, hey, we should make coals. Yeah, bro. Oh, also I'm gonna go meet a shaman. Yeah, bro, me too. Okay, let's go do this. How did you guys come together?
Yeah, so we're gonna give you a bit of a pre-story to how we met and what's the situation with us. So Daniel comes here. He was born and raised in Sweden, and I was raised in Spain. So basically, we're European, and we chose the same university in 2011. we actually
Went to university in London. Yeah.
went to university in London. And the first day of the registry, we came late. Everything was full. The hall was full. Daniel came late, so he had to stand up. I came late. I had to stand up. I come to him. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on here? He's like, yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm just late.
We like basically started like talking from the first day. Like that was like ages ago.
We actually tried to flip houses in London. We tried to do other businesses and whatnot, and
like hookah has always been like something that we like really enjoyed. But you know, back in like 2011, it was the same thing. Like we smoked al-fakir and we smoked sarbas on like Egyptians, like on Khalil Mamoons and stuff like that. But that, you know, we would have maybe like half an hour before the lecture starts, and we'd like quickly go out and you know, smoke. So we liked shisha. Like that was something that was always like, as you said, like we talked previously before that's something that brings people together, right? But we came across towards specifically the production of coconut coal. I think kind of like the stars aligned on that, because we were in Moscow, and just a typical situation where we were served the shisha, right? He was served the shisha, and I was served the shisha, right? His was really good. Mine was shit.
That's very humble of you to say, to be like, you know what, his was better than mine. I suck.
I asked the shisha master, like, hey, can you change it again? So he changes it for me. Once again, mine is shit. His is okay. And I like ask him, like, yo, like, what's the problem? Like, why is this okay and mine's not, and I'm still paying the same price?
I hate you, bro.
So he basically was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I recently just bought these coals. Oh, like this pack is shit, but this one is good. Like, I don't know what I'm working with. So we started like researching, and we went from like one hookah lounge to the other to the next. Like, we started off from the very bottom. We didn't go up from like the top. We went from like normal the basement hookahs, lounges and whatnot, and everybody had the same exact problem. There's no stability in quality. There's no, like, nobody knows what they might get today or if they order tomorrow. And it just so, like, when I say stars aligned, it just so happened that at that time, my family actually, they were working in Indonesia, in Jakarta. We had we have a little bit of activities there. And we flew to, like, after like about a week of like looking at doing the research, we flew directly to Jakarta, and then to the island of Java, where most of these like the interest and the industry is located. And we flew to a bunch of other like little islands to find out. And it turns out that it's a really, really well-developed like business in Indonesia, where the government actually provides a lot of input and support for the and incentives for the export of coconut, because Indonesia is actually one of the largest producers of like coconut oil, coconut milk, water, palm oil. So the foundation for the business to work is really good. So that was one of the first things. And you know, after just basically borrowing from friends, borrowing from family, you know, buying like used up from other factories, like press, mixers, drums, and things like this, we decided that why can't we do it? You know, I mean, we're still young. Why is this not something that we can do? So we spent like roughly 3-4 months like in Indonesia, you know, just testing, working. Like, we smoked through like, I think me and Milan have smoked through more double apple. So, because that's what they smoke. They don't actually like smoke too much there in Indonesia. That's like the only thing. So
they actually don't smoke at all.
They don't smoke.
They don't smoke shisha over there.
Wow. The biggest supplier of coals in the world, and they don't smoke shisha. That's interesting.
So we tested it, and then we came to what we believed was like a good product, and we decided, you know what, like, let's try it, and we sent it off to. Sorry,
you guys are so popular right now.
Literally, it's just everybody is like asking, like, you know, what's up with these Americans at the moment?
we get that a lot, actually.
Oh yeah. That's the key. And yeah, so we made a product, and we launched officially like about 1.5 years ago in Russia, and it's just taken off since then. We started it out with like a little small container of 22 mm, which is this little tiny beast.
The baby of the group.
And we went through that. It was
honestly, we started off with the worst format because we started with the 22 mm. Mm-ms are the most popular kind of size over here.
Okay.
And we weren't really sure. So the first container that came in, and the 22 mm, they lost their popularity right in the moment when we actually introduced them to the market.
Oh, so you had like bad timing when you came in. Now, can I ask you something really quick? Because you're talking about the sizes. Now, the 22 mm's. Why were they popular at the time? Because is it a thing where people like to smoke with more heat and they like to have like change out the coals?
No. It was quite simple. Back in the days, the 22 mm's were the standard kind of size, coal size. Back in the day, even in Europe, I think. And then in Europe, they started actually smoking on the 25 mm's, and it was later on introduced into Russia, and then the Russians actually got used to it, and they're like, oh, okay, like we're not bothered with the 22s, especially because. Especially for the people that actually work in the hookah lounges, they're not bothered of every like 20 minutes coming up to you and just changing the coal. They'd rather put on the 25 mm than just come over later, you know, like.
Okay.
So we took a risk and we like properly failed on it. But what we did was like we basically had this like this was our product. I mean, we were blessed by the Shaman. Like, how could we fuck up? So we went into every single like hookah lounge in Moscow, just from the really bottom, like the worst of the worst. Like, we've seen it all, pushing and pushing and pushing, and then one guy buys it, another guy buys it, third guy, and it slowly spreads. And now our current capacity in Russia is about. It's about 120 to 130 tons a month.
Wow! Holy shit! Now, initially, when it comes to like new coals and new products in Russia, do you feel that they're more accepting of new products, like new coals? Like when you're saying you go to a lounge or you go to someone and be like, hey, we have a new product here, we really want you to try it. Do they look at you sideways and be like, no, we're good. We got coals. These things work. Or would they be like, you know what? Yeah, man, I really want to try your product. Give me a box, and then you found the reception really good, and you're like, oh, okay, we're onto something here.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna give you one thing about Russia that has an advantage in comparison to, for example, Europe. In Russia, the situation is as follows. In Russia they got really good hookahs, they got really good tobacco, they got really good coal, just because of one main factor. The drivers, the people that actually control and that drive the industry, the hookah industry in Russia, are young adults. They're young kids. They're like you and me. They're like in between 20 to 30 or whatever. And these people, in order to not work in like office jobs or for the government or whatever, they try their best to actually work in the hookah industry. And actually, when the drivers of the younger population, they actually really like the new stuff. They really like to introduce good stuff, quality stuff. In comparison to Europe, actually, I can't be 100% certain about America or Brazil, but in Europe, for example, the European hookah industry is not controlled by the younger population. It's controlled by mature men from the Middle East, and they don't really like to change. They don't really like to.
It's very traditional.
It's very traditional. As you can see, they all smoke on the Khalil Mamoons, double apples. In Russia, they hate double apple, but it's like it's past season.
So we were
really quick. I have a question before we go any further from Chris Deladillo. I always butcher his name. Poor Chris. He's asking what's your guys' favorite flavor? Now, you guys did talk about double apple. Are you guys burnt out on double apple at this point, or do you still find yourself going back to it? What's your favorite shisha flavor right now?
That's going to be quite difficult because we have quite a lot of partners that work on our coal. No, but honestly, like
I love raspberry. I like berries. I love berries. I love berries with a bit of.
Or you mean specific brand?
No, you know what? I won't get you guys in trouble by trying to say a different brand. What type of flavors do you guys like? Like your palate? Like, we're all different. I like a mint with a little bit like tiny bit of floral, which is what I've been smoking recently. Like, what do you guys like to smoke?
Well, I personally like to mix berries like 80% and a bit of dessert like a dessert, yeah,
Okay.
a bit of kind of flavor.
Mhm.
So it's kind of chill. It kind of goes for me, and also maybe some just I don't know, maybe just the standard flavor like the grape or whatever.
Okay.
Me, I'm not too picky about it as well. I don't like really like minty fresh like flavors because it feels like you're smoking a Tic Tac. So what I like to, well, me, I'm also more on the dessert type of side. We're talking like waffle. We're talking like
they don't really do waffles here.
key lime pie, cheesecake. All of these things. Like for me, that's like quite an enjoyment.
Okay.
But
It sounds like WTO and Dark Side are your friends.
well, Dark Side.
No, I gotta say, WTO and Darkside, they have some amazing products, to say the least.
Daniel Newbert from the Facebook chat says, I must say, if we had Russian tobacco available at the black market like we have AF, I would definitely prefer that over Double Apple.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's all the questions. Greg and Dimitri, yeah, I have to say, the tobacco industry here is super developed. Like I think it has to do a little bit of the culture because I think because the fact that we had this like wall, this iron wall, covering Russia for so long, people were so closed off. As soon as that broke away, people stopped like caring about what anybody's going to say and they just go for it. So we have a lot of producers just to do anything because like WTO, they do salmon taste. They do,
bacon, salmon,
bacon.
Dude, okay, all right. I need to get on this salmon. This smoked salmon flavor. It's smoked salmon. There's no way around it. It's exactly what it says it is.
Grilled salmon, by the way, not only salmon. I think it's grilled salmon.
It's like a smoked salmon. Yeah, I was able to try it. I'm not a fan of smoking smoked salmon, but I can see the appeal. Their flavors are true to its name. Sometimes you have shisha that they say, oh yeah, this is like, desert something or something, and they say it's like, oh yeah, this is what it tastes like. No, WTO is exactly what it tastes like. I don't know how you guys do it. I think Jeremy is a fan of that salmon. I personally, I don't know. Everyone was enjoying it. I was like, I don't know how you guys, I don't know what your taste buds are like. Maybe I'm uncultured, unrefined pleb from America that doesn't understand the complexities of this WTO. I also think Adrian Hunter really liked the smoked salmon. I can't get behind it, but it is a good flavor for the people who do like it, and it's very interesting. How we're gonna go into, I guess, more between the differences of like, because you're starting to touch on it now about the difference between of people who smoke in Russia to the differences of people who smoke in America, and you're saying they have all those crazy flavors over there. Do you find, because you are saying that people are like willing to try these crazy combinations, willing to like, gung-ho to be like, you know what, if we don't have a s'mores flavor, let's fucking make a s'mores flavor, let's do it, and here in America it's tough to find something that actually is like really true to that flavor, but it seems like Russia just keeps coming out with all these real like crazy flavors that it's crazy to me, but people in Russia and in that part of the world, they're like, yeah, we love this shit. This is great. Do you feel like the palates are different?
No.
It comes back to what Milan said about the fact that here especially like in certain parts of Europe and in Russia, as we said, the industry is controlled by young guys like us that are on Instagram, that are on all of these like live channels. Like we're not afraid to see if it fails or works. Like this is part of our mentality that let's just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And always it's gonna work out. Like there was like this, like for me, like they got cheese flavors. Like I don't like that. But it's not about like the palates, because at the end of the day, like everybody got different taste. It's just about the fact that maybe because it's not available, or maybe the mentality, like you haven't tried it, that's why you don't know it.
Yeah.
And the more, like, I think the more you get used to it, the more you try around. Like it's quite interesting, because why not? Like you want to go to a shisha lounge and be like, you know what? I want to smoke like on a alpaca bowl with salmon cream cheese. You know, like a bagel salmon. Why not?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
Breakfast shisha.
And
It's bagel and lox for breakfast.
And
mean,
I really appreciate the ingenuity that comes out of Russia, because they're not willing to be like, oh well, you know what, we're making it, and if you don't like it, tough shit. We're making it. It's happening. You know, enjoy it or don't enjoy it. By the way, you were talking about social media. I do love Russian social media because you always put like the women out there. Thank you for your amazing Instagrams that you have out there. There's a lot of likes coming from America, especially New York, especially my phone, from all the Russian likes. I really appreciate the marketing out
they
there.
already knew that before you even said it, Chris.
That's true. Well, man, it's great to see that you guys are coming from like a humble background, and you're bringing that, and you're really bringing like a good quality control, and a you know, a good background, good head on your shoulders when it comes to marketing these coals. I want to get back to these coals a little bit, because you have
Greatest as well. Our latest and the greatest ever. You know that.
you you have several different sizes. Now, can you explain? Can you show me all the different sizes you have in front of you?
So we got the, for example, the standard size that we got is the 25 right? That's the box that we have over there. We also do the 22s. I don't know if we like have a box here.
Okay.
Like, this is more from our experience. We found that the 22s are more geared towards the Asian market. So we're talking about like Kazakhstan. We're talking about more like Uzbekistan. People that actually smoke on foil and smoke on fruit.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
You flip through. Maybe if you flip through for Instagram, you can see like hookah lounges from like Azerbaijan, and they have like these big pineapple or melon. So they use the 22s because they give, they actually, well, ours at least, they pack quite a punch.
Yeah.
So they prefer having a lot of them because that spreads the heat throughout all of the tobacco and throughout all of the bowl easier. When we go towards like closer to the capital cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, I would say they're a little bit more lazy in their approach, that they actually like the 25s.
Mm-hmm.
They basically smoke on what you call them heat management devices, right?
Yes.
They put, for example, 2 or 3. Maybe we're able to show like this.
They normally put four 25s, and then they put the one off when it's heated up. So it's going to be a 3.
And our other product that is the most popular in Europe is the 26s. And a comparison of like how the
I do gotta say, before we get too far, Jeremy, I'm sure your coals are big in Asia. That's an Asian joke. That's it. That's all I got, guys. Don't worry, there won't be any more bad jokes. I will try to keep them to a minimum.
That was a bad dad joke.
That was bad. Okay. Listen, I'm gonna chalk it up to it being 8:30 in the morning. I'm just gonna shut up and drink some more of my coffee as they explain the cold.
This live chat before. So like you can see like the 26s are not too much bigger than the 25s, but those are mostly like smoked in Germany and in that part of Europe because they use the bacha. So maybe you know these, like the ones with a hole sticking out on the top.
Yes.
So they use that because they use a lot of traditional like tobacco.
Yeah,
like
that's not something we definitely use. I think we call it like a chimney here. Like
chimney.
We don't necessarily use it here, just because it's not widely available.
Yeah, so that's Germany, and our latest product that we developed, it took us actually quite a bit, is the massive. We call them triple XL Shaman 31s.
Yes, because you guys are crazy. Yes.
Can we see all those next to each other? Because you showed us earlier kind of a comparison between the sizes. And it was like a difference.
It's night and day, the size of the coals.
So this is a
26 on the left, on the right, on the right.
What did that?
No, this one.
Okay. Yeah. So this, for example, is a 25 cube, right? This is a 26. 31.
Yeah.
So you can just see like the size of it, like how much more bigger it is, like in terms of, we call this like the crazy one. And the reason.
Yeah, I agree. Can you show us, because you
Yeah,
showed,
we're gonna get one.
I'll show you.
okay, because you showed us in the HMD before.
Yeah. So Milan's gonna bring it over right now. This is our latest product that has taken like Russia by storm, because nobody else is doing this, right? The reason being is that this, for example, just your classical, good old-fashioned HMD call-out, and basically,
Holy shit.
so we're talking about. I'm just gonna hold it like this. We're talking about one call per one HMD, and a lot of people are actually getting quite used to it because it's, you put the cap over. You smoke it for for just about 1.5 hours, and that's it. It's really economical. Like you just got to work on one coal. Some people for like use 2 coals to like heat up the bowl if they want a little bit stronger like flavor. Like you got your Tangiers, you got your dark side, and things like this.
Yeah, me and Jeremy tend to smoke very hot. So I wonder, Jeremy, can we use 3 of those in a bowl?
I think we should try it. And we got a couple questions.
Check out,
We got a couple questions coming in from Facebook too. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Adrian Hunter wants to know where he can get these. He's in the United States. I know that Gregory and Dimitri have been in talks with you guys to get them in. And
I want to say a little bit about Gregory and Dimitri. Like these guys, you guys know them as well. They're really, really upfront, like really cool guys that they just want to focus on getting like the best and the newest into America from like all over the world. I'm not talking just like, Russia, but yeah, we are working with them towards getting all of our like newest and latest, greatest products into America. It's going to take maybe a couple of more weeks because there's a couple of standards in America that we haven't done quite yet. For example, you like in hookah lounges, you have a specific format called hookah lounge box. Where it's like a big box.
The lounge case, yeah.
Lounge case. So we haven't done that. So we working right now with Greg and Dimitri to develop that, to get that into the US. All of our coals are going to be available through Sky Hookah Distribution. These are really cool guys. They got quite a big take in America. We're definitely going to get it towards towards, you got the Las Vegas Expo and stuff like that. We're also working right now to get it towards the you got a hookah meetup, I think, in April or something in Miami.
Yes, we are currently still in talks about getting that. We haven't found a date yet, but April is the month that we're gonna do it. We're all gonna try to get as many people from Hookah University out there. It's we try to do a meetup a couple times a year, or twice a year, or a big one once a year. We're still trying to figure out what's the best for the members in the community. But that's something that would be great for people to get their hands on and try it, because
you were the guy that asked the question. We're gonna get it into the US as soon as possible. Right now it's a little bit. We wanted to get it towards like here right now in December, but the problem is that December is a really, really busy season for freight companies because you got Christmas and all of these other stuff.
Yeah.
So the rates that they give for exporting is
they jack those prices up, huh?
Those prices up. Plus, we just want to make sure that it's like the best of the best of the best that you can get. So we're finalizing our talks with Sky Hookah Distribution, and I hope by January we can able to produce the first batch, get it into the US. I mean, we'll fly out to Chicago, to wherever to help out. We'll maybe bring a couple of Russian.
We're gonna have to stay in touch and definitely all try to get out there together at the same time in Chicago. That would be pretty cool. Do we have another question from Daniel Newbert? I think he has quite a big post that he just.
We do. He goes, so Daniel Milan, will your coals come to Europe? I'm actually on my way to Germany right now. Is it possible for me to pick them up someplace?
Sure.
And if you want business in Denmark, I can give you some contacts to the Danish market who will probably love your products.
We've talked with the Danes and we're working with them. I think with the Danes at least, it's a little bit of a price thingy because I don't know exactly. I don't want to reveal or say what the price is going to be end retail price or wholesale price in the US. Because we're still working on those factors. But yeah, we're working with the Danes to get them there, and we just gotta figure out like the perfect
We
like,
can send over
price
the.
point.
We can
But we
send-
can if he
send over some
writes to
quotes.
us at our Insta, which is at Shaman Cole, like write to us, we'll respond. Like it's me and Milan, that we don't have like some social media agency dealing it. It's just us, you know. So write to us the info. We'll make sure to send out like, you know, we're there. We're in Europe. We supply Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Prague. We got a little bit going on in Spain. We got a little bit going on in Germany. Me myself, I'm Swedish, so I'm like I'm pushing the forward my calls in Sweden. So you know,
I'm Spanish.
yeah. So yeah, we're expanding our base. We're expanding our base there in Europe. So for sure, just write to us, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, you heard it here first. Jeremy, do you have so I am really interested on trying, because I know, Jeremy, you've the plankton, right? Do you have that HMD?
Yeah, I do. If you want, I can go grab it here in just a
Yeah, do
minute.
you
It's
well
a pretty awesome
well
piece.
just off the top of your head, do you believe that like the XL, triple XL, I think it's triple XL, right? I don't want
So,
to understate. Do you believe that triple XL would fit in the plankton? Because I know the plankton HMD is mainly used for one coal.
It's a one coal HMD. That it's it's basically the size of a 50-cent piece,
Hmm.
and I do believe that the X triple XL coal will fit inside of it.
here's a quick just to show. So for example, here you have. I'll just bring it closer to the camera. Hope video is gonna go right. So here's just a normal. I don't think they would go too smaller. And we got one cap over here, and oh, 1 second. By the time that it burns, this
Yeah.
thing will close on it. Like so, it's not going to be a problem in terms of like getting it on top. So
Yeah.
when we developed the 31s, it wasn't like okay, well let's think about the proportion. We're like, you know what, fuck it. Why not?
Probe and research and see how it goes and get all the feedbacks. And that's how it happens with the new stuff. You know, you have to just get into the market, see how it goes, get the feedback, and just work on it.
Yeah.
So far, we're getting quite a positive feedback in Russia. People really liking it.
Yeah.
They like the fact that you just put one coal in it and just it gives you a lot.
I mean, also on the flip side, it's very cost effective for these lounges and stuff to use, the triple XL coal. In our Facebook chat right now, we have Mr. Adrian Hunter, who's part of the AM Hookah podcast. They do a podcast every Monday. They are interested in getting you guys on their podcast. So I'm gonna make sure to send you guys his information. So
we already have it.
Oh, you already have it. Okay, then you're good to go. He's very interested in getting you on the podcast and picking your brains. They have a very good show that they do every single week.
We really like Americans. We like your mentality towards, like, let's just get it out. Let's just show it. Let's advertise all of these things. Like we really enjoy this, and we have no problem like going out speaking, because at the end of the day, it's our production, it's our call. We like, no pun intended, but we burn for this stuff. So so like this is what we do. We think we hope and think that it's really good, and that if there's an opportunity to show and to speak more about this, like, we're all up for that. We're not, some bureaucratic company. You gotta speak to my secretary to get through me. So
you know what? I think you guys need some very sexy secretaries, and you can bring them over to Chicago. I think that you need some sexy interns.
We had that, but I had a situation with her.
They're in the, you heard it here first. They're in the talks of getting some very sexy Instagram secretaries. So don't worry, guys. You know what? This year has been fantastic. Being I guess I would call myself not so much a reviewer anymore, but somewhat more of an influencer. I remember at the beginning of this year, people were saying that hookah was a dying market. And this year alone, 2018 has been great for hookah. There's been so many innovations. There's been so many new products. A lot of people who are enthusiasts within the community have come out and said, you know what, there's something I want that's not in or not readily available within the market. And then what they do, they go out and then they create it. And that sense of creativity is awesome. Like seeing you guys bring something new to coals, and the longevity. I want to say right here, the longevity of these coals is quite amazing. You really, it's hard to like sit here and talk about the coals and tell you, oh, they do this, they do that, you really have to get your hand on these coals, and then like if you're a hookah smoker, you're someone that smokes maybe 3 bowls a day, whatever, you're gonna realize the stark difference between what you're using now and the coals that they're talking about. And it's very hard to sit here and be like, oh, these coals this coals that, this size this, because they are allowing you to buy different sizes of coals, and I'm assuming they're all the same formula. The sizes are just different. So you're getting the longevity, you're getting the nice heat burn, you're getting the no taste, you're getting no smell on the burner. Which, if you're like me, I smoke indoors, so I don't have my burner outside. So it's kind of important for me not to have my room smell like a fucking chimney, you know. So I noticed that was a big factor too. You really have to.
The ash content after these things burn, it's minimal. It's really good.
We've seen a lot of different calls, and we can't speak uh highly enough. Even though Gregory and Dimitri are good friends of us, if they had a product that we didn't like, we have that open line of communication with them to tell them, hey, we don't like this for X, Y, and Z. This is why. If we didn't feel strongly about this product, they would not be on Hookah University. They wouldn't be on our YouTube. So
It's quite important as well because we get a lot of because of our capacity now. We've improved the capacity of production of the coal at our factory. We get a lot of interest from people that are no longer, they want to say like, oh, I want to buy like 3 tons, 4 tons. They're buying per container, and we actually had a little bit of interest prior to working with Skyhook Distribution. But the reason we want to work with these guys is because they understand. A lot of people, like when it comes down to coals, like they say, okay, what is it? Like coals is coals. Who gives it? Like who gives a shit, right? But if you think about it, you can have the best shisha. You can buy this Sval from Sweden. They recently released one for 2.5 million euros. Yeah, you can buy.
Yeah,
that's the gold leaf, right?
No, that's the tobacco.
Oh.
So you can buy the most expensive hookah. You can buy the most expensive tobacco. You can buy like these are quite fancy. The Verkund, tongs and whatever.
Ah, I see. You're also a man of also a man of culture.
I was saying, and you can buy the most expensive thing, but all of that means nothing if you have shit coal. If coal, like if it ruins the taste, that's it. All of these things that you've invested, and Gregory and Luke, they really understand and appreciate that, and that was important for us because I got to say one thing about our coals, because we don't add any wood whatsoever. They take a little bit longer to heat up, simply because the density of them is a little bit more versus other coal producers. And they understood that from the get-go that these are coals that you got to take a little bit more time with them, but in turn they perform and outlast all the other ones. And that's the reason why we work with them.
I also think when they're talking about the heating up, it's very minimal. We're not saying it's gonna be on there for an extra 3 minutes or some crazy amount of time. It's minimal because I just lit them up. I think I woke up at like 6:30. I lit the coals at 7:20. I was smoking by like 7:35 with my whole setup after setting everything up. It's you're talking very minimal time as far as coals. Jeremy, what were you saying?
Well, it sounds like what you try and create. What's the problem with taking a little bit of extra time to pack a bowl or create the hookah experience? I mean, I think that all of us as enthusiasts find ourselves enjoying packing and setting up a hookah just as much as actually smoking it.
From a business perspective, you got to think about, not just us as hookah enthusiasts, because we mean on a hookah enthusiast. If we know that we got to do something a little bit special, we'll take the time. We got to think about the economics for lounges, right? Like for them, maybe wood mixed coal or coal that heats up really quickly is just a way for them to save money, so that they can quickly serve a customer, have that customer leave because the hookah tastes like shit after 40 minutes, get another customer. So a lot of these things boil down to time economy. Mm-hmm. We believe that by working with our specific coals, not only are you able to get the hookah lounges, and we supply a lot of hookah lounges like in Russia and in Europe, they can enhance the flavor of their tobacco, and they can provide a more enjoyable experience for the loyal customers, the customer that come in a lot to spend a lot of money, rather than the ones that come by like on a like a food stand, to just go around and around. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you say that it doesn't take so long, but that's the reason you know how to work with coals. A lot.
It's also very important that, I mean, as a lounge owners have a, in my opinion, lounge owners have a responsibility to give the best possible session, because you might have some of these people who go into a lounge for the first time, not really knowing what hookah is. Like, they know what it is, but they don't know exactly what it's supposed to taste like. And if they go in there and they say, "Oh, I want, this tobacco," but they have bad coals which ruin their session, or burn, or they have a bad person who does bad coal management, it ruins their experience. And then very quickly they make the assertion that, you know what, maybe shisha isn't for me. And not only are you losing the customer from your lounge, you're also losing the customer from the overall industry. So it's very important for the lounge owners to give the customer the best possible session, to let that customer make the determination if they like this going forward. And I think your calls are going to be allowing them to not have to worry about, "Oh, I don't know what type of coal I have. I know this coal works. I know it's good. It's not going to dampen the flavor profile of the shisha that I'm offering." And I think overall it will help the lounges, so you're doing, it's like a full circle thing where you're providing a good service to everyone.
And that's why we're working with Sky Hookah, because they know this. They bring in the best of the best, and they believe in our product as we do. So we're really happy to be working with them to bring our product into the US.
For example, back in the days when we just started, me and Daniel, we were like, we got a choice. We either go the easy way, we're just to sell the cheapest, we're trying to mix or whatever, use the raw material, and just come into the Russian market, for example, which was our first market, and just create a price war or whatever, But we actually chose to go for the quality, and we noticed that it took us quite a time to teach the hookah lounges, the consumers, to use a good cola. There's different kinds of cola, and etc. etc. And a lot of them are actually starting to appreciate it now. Not just because of that of us, but a lot of other guys are also starting to actually noticing the difference between different coal qualities. For example, when it comes to tobacco or for example a hookah, which one's cheaper, which was more expensive, or which was higher quality or less quality. Never mind the price. When back in the days, or maybe still in some areas, people didn't really care about the coal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure you guys seen it, especially lounge owners. They kind of vote with what product they're gonna have in their lounge by their wallet. And that's understandable, because as a business you want to be cost efficient, but at the same time, you want to provide a really good service, a really good shisha. Really quickly, I want to get to a question that Mr. Matt Dezen, the other half of the AM Hookah podcast. Matt Dezen has a question. Why are cubes becoming the most popular form of coal? Now, there's a lot of different shapes. I mean, you guys have a couple different sizes. Now, there's a lot of different shapes. There's the circular one. There's the hexagon. There's completely half circles. There's a lot of different stuff. Like, why do you guys maybe see yourselves dabbling in different shapes, or do you want to stay with what you know?
Well, we're kind of experimenting now, but we noticed one thing. Maybe it's because of us or whatever. It just happens so. It's so much easier to get a cube, a shape of a cube, a form of a cube, when you're actually cutting the coal. Well, the plastering or whatever. When it's kind of warm, the base, yeah. It's much easier to get cubes when you do that, because when you try to make like cylinders or whatever, yeah. When they go into the oven, they kind of shrink, or they get a really weird shape, and it's kind of hard to keep up with the shape. So I think it's because of the production ease. Maybe, I don't, honestly, we're not completely sure, but I think that's the main reason.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason is that when you start to, I mean, obviously, like in Brazil, they all smoke on hexagons, and they also smoke as well on the foil. They don't necessarily use the HMDs, right? So for them, the heat distribution throughout the entire bowl is quite important because they got to put it on a larger surface. I think that the reason why we stuck with cubes is that first of all, it's what we like to do. We don't really like to conform so much to what everybody tells us. We like cubes, so we do cubes. But at the same time, it's also a universal standard. We have tried to do the cloud shape, but with the cloud shape, which I mean the
half circle, yeah.
So with the cloud shapes, we found that yes, they work, but then again, you have so many different types of HMDs, and maybe this specific shape won't fit into this. So it's not like, okay, fuck it, let's just make a 31 because that's like big enough for all of them.
That's true. That's true. All right, guys. If you have any questions for these gentlemen who were so kind to grace us with their time because they were very busy dudes, just drop it down in the comments here. Chris, if you have any more questions on YouTube, you guys got any more questions on Facebook? Yeah, I think I would really like to see you guys and talk more and pick your brains more, especially in Chicago. I would love to see you guys come over to the States here. I think Vegas for the Hookah Expo Worldwide would be a very nice touch for you guys because you get that immediate feedback. It's one thing where you send your box over to a reviewer or you send your box over to a lounge and then maybe a couple weeks down the road they're like, oh yeah, they don't really give you that immediate feedback because at the expo, that's one of the things a lot of people like. They can interact immediately with the customer as they're smoking. You can see their immediate reaction and gauge how the coals work for them. Let's see. Nobody got Andrew's joke. Oh, did someone say about coals? Andrew Salazar in here trolling.
Regarding the Hookah Expo in Las Vegas, for sure. I mean, we're gonna as soon as because we're gonna work with the Sky Hookah with Greg and Dimitri to get into calls before that, and obviously the most important thing is customer feedback because I think it's the same in America as it is in Europe and in Russia. If the calls are good, nobody's gonna say anything. Yeah. They work, and that's it. Like the best feedback we get is
no feedback.
Because when the call is bad, everybody lets you know. Oh, this thing burnt my house down, etc. So like, it's important for us, the American market, like what you guys, how you work with it, because we're quite used to the European point of view. Like people are really, really picky with their hookahs, right? Mm-hmm. They, the specific way that they will work with specific tobaccos, all this stuff. Going into America, of course, we're gonna work with Greg and Dimitri to make sure that we get that immediate feedback. And obviously, like Las Vegas, that's for us is going to be a lot of fun. We'll hopefully bring in like some shamans ourselves. Maybe if you can see through our Instagram posts, you can see how we do our expos in Russia. Yeah. We're gonna have one in December 15th with John Caliano, which is a really hookah place, which is a really big franchise in Russia. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna make it like into like this Christmassy, shamanic, feel.
We're gonna have girls twerking and whatnot.
That's I mean, honestly, that's what everyone was asking. They were gonna be like, "Where's the girls twerking?" I gotta say, the expos in your corner of the world are insane. I've seen many videos.
We go all out. Like if it makes sense to go crazy, that's what we do.
It's like the Burning Man of Russia. Like it's crazy what happens over there. Like
I want to just give a small like promotion. I wasn't paid for this. Eventually anybody that's gonna watch after or not, March. I don't know the specific day yet, but March in Russia we have the largest hookah expo on this side of the planet, which is called Hookah Club Show. It's like they rent out these huge expo centers and everybody goes all out because a lot of people, that's like their only point of contact. Brandon Olofsson went last year. I mean, you can see from like what he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Omar was there. If he's maybe watching, ask him how he liked to smoke Frigate, which is the hardest tobacco in the world.
Yeah.
And basically, like I'm inviting.
This is what I'm smoking for breakfast. Is actually with a little bit of cherry punch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll take a photo of that for
Yeah,
because
we're gonna send it to
the producer is a friend of ours. So like I'm inviting people to come, like book your tickets in advance. It's in St. Petersburg. It's a very hospitable like city. Everybody are really super nice. Us ourselves, like okay, we're speaking like pseudo-European Russians, but as Russian speaking right now, we're really excited about Americans coming in and checking it out. It's a lot of fun. Believe me, like the hospitality you get at this place, like it's amazing. It's a lot of fun, and because the ruble is like so cheap compared to the dollar, you can just come back with like cases of good Russian products.
I've heard of people coming back. I'm not gonna name any names, but people have come back with some stuff, some goodie bags and stuff. So it's definitely something that I think in the future we definitely want to get out there, and we don't want to keep missing out on these shows. It's just, with the timing of everything else we do here in America, we're trying, because we are very heavily advocating a bigger market here, and I think I mean our expo isn't as big as your guys. I mean even Hookah John has gone over there and he's seen what other countries are doing, and I think that's a part of the inspiration of why he wants to do an expo in U.S. territory every year, to bring a little bit of that flair, that excitement that you guys have and other parts of the world have at their expos. I think it's really cool. We have a couple questions.
Sure.
Let's see. Adrian Hunter says, do you guys have heavy duty foil over there? Like that really thick foil? Like what type of foil do they usually use?
We have different kinds of foil, like just in the casual supermarket. It doesn't have to be like a special kind of foil. It's just your everyday foil. They have like the thick one, they got the thin one, they got the one for whatever.
It's
Yeah,
all
like
made in
barbecuing. They Matt Dezen also has another question here. Thank you, Adrian and Matt, for your questions. Matt asks, what's the biggest aim or goal when bringing coals to a new market like the United States?
Well, the most important thing I think is getting the feedback, because every market has their own kind of taste and whatnot, and it's getting the feedback is trying to be as flexible as possible and trying to introduce the best quality possible, and just also being aware of your I don't like to call them competition, but just being aware of the guys that they're also producing the coal there, and seeing what's going on there, because in different kind of markets they care about, like for instance in the Middle Eastern countries, they really don't care about the quality of the coal. So you can't go in there with a coconut shell briquette coal and just say, hey, you know what, just start this and that.
Yeah.
They don't care about that.
I would assume there's a lot of pushback in a market like that is very traditional and very hard to get in there.
I mean, our most important going into any market. So whether we went into Germany, Spain, Russia, the most important thing is that the people appreciate it. And as I said, we're working right now with Greg and Dmitry to make sure that we make it right for America. With the hookah lounge boxes, we want to make sure we haven't done that before. So now we're working with the people that supply us the packaging to make sure it's really tightly packed and it's not affected by any weather conditions in their containers. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we like our product and we want you guys to like it as well. So that's our aim. We just want you guys to like it.
Yeah.
But we're not a charity at the end of the day.
No, and I think it's very good. Just by talking to you guys now, it seems that you guys are very aware of the do's and don'ts and what to look out for in the market and what to look out for as far as like quality control and controlling the product and what consumers for the most part are looking for in their coals and how to reach that goal. It seems that you're not just putting together a fly-by-night coal just to get your name out there and then be like, oh, it's just another coal on the market. It seems that you guys are bringing, a sense of quality, a sense of, I guess to elevate the product, to elevate shisha as a whole, and you're doing that through the coals.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. As I said, we want to bring the same idea that when somebody's working on the coals, they're like, oh, we're not working on coconut coals, we're working on shamans. The shamans have blessed our bowl. That's what we want to bring. It's stupid because it's a culture thing. It's a commodity, but at the same time, let's make it something like cool. I'm working shamans. That's why not?
Yeah, yeah. Me and Daniel moved into the club, just like.
Oh shit! That's a different Omar. I thought that was I thought Omar was in here. But
No, we
it's very good talking to you guys, man. I look forward to meeting you guys. Jeremy, you have any questions for them?
I don't right now. I'm excited to try the 31s. I really want to try those. It's something that's piqued my interest. Um, there's just there's like Chris was saying, there's so many events, and it would be so much fun to come out to St. Petersburg to meet you, but just doesn't look like it's going to happen this year because of all the craziness going on. But maybe next year.
next year. So you still have until like March next year to figure out something. As I said, you guys do your thing, but I really, really like recommend anybody that's a hookah enthusiast to just go like to if you book tickets well in advance, it should be like quite good. But yeah, I mean, it's a quite fun experience on this side of the planet. And I know it's really, really early at that, like where you are right now, so you don't have a lot of questions. But as I said, we'd be more than happy to like, have more like discussions like this when it's like closer to the your podcast. We'll do this.
Mhm.
We like what we do. We have no problem like answering like things that you might be interested about. So it's no problem for us.
We'll definitely be in contact. For the people who are just joining now, can you let them know where to get your calls and where to where to reach you on social media?
So our main point of contact is right now through Instagram at Shaman Cole. And in terms of where to reach them, we're going to have them go to Sky Hookah Distribution. So you talk to Greg, you talk to Dmitry. They're going to be the ones that are going to be forwarding our interests in the US. We'll make sure that a couple of like a week or something, 2 weeks before they arrive on your in the America, that we're gonna we're gonna tell everyone that they're here. We have no problem flying out. Like we don't have restrictions or anything like this.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with the KGB after this fucking interview when you get the knock at the door.
Yeah. So they're going to be available through Sky Hookah, and I mean these guys are going to do. We're actually making limited edition like sample packs, so you'll have them like quite cool small sample packs for everybody to try out. We're making quite a bit of those, and yeah, I don't want to say like right now they're going to be available this year because it's not. We still got to work out to make sure that it's the perfect fit for the US. Starting next year. Which is in about
it's like a couple days away at this point.
Yeah, in a month's time, that's when we're gonna put in the entire like effort and full force of Shaman in the US. I'm sure that if anybody wants to talk to us, we're still available at Shaman Cole. We'll put out a hashtag Shaman Cole USA. So we'll be there. We'll be there soon.
Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna see if I can kind of get Gregory or Dimitri in our little chat when we finish our live here. See if we can get them in here real quick. I know they're watching. I'm gonna shoot them the link to the thing in here. Guys, thank you very much for coming on and being very very easy to reach because I just threw it out there and you guys are like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it, man. And then I was like, oh shit, what time we doing it? I gotta wake up at 6:30 a.m. I can do it. I just need like 3 hours of sleep, and I got this.
We highly appreciate it, Jeremy. We highly appreciate that you woke up at this time as well. Like for real, let's make it another day when like we just woke up and you guys have something.
We definitely want to have you guys back on when people are definitely getting the product in people's hands. Maybe we can take some live calls, have people drop in and out, and let us know what they actually think about the calls. And it would be nice to have people talk to you one-on-one after they tried your product so that you can hear how they compared it to other things that they smoke in the US market. I think that would be some good feedback.
We'll fly out to Chicago not only for the feedback, but I gotta try those, deep dish pizzas again. Like that's so we'll be definitely.
I'll make sure we get a good spot for deep dish pizza, and we'll get some drinks happening, and we'll make a good time of it. But thank you guys, thank you for everyone who jumped in on Hookah University this morning and hung out with us and talked to the guys from Shaman Coles. Jeremy, thank you for being awake.
Yeah, it was rough waking up this morning, but it's okay. I got to get to work sooner or later. But, you know.
All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to wrap it up.
Thanks.
No, we don't need. No, we just stay, bro.